I think one good skill to have is try to put yourselves in the person's shoes who's actually going to be reviewing that resume. And you'll immediately see that if you've got hundreds of resume coming onto your desk, all of them would probably have done the same kind of courses. So, how do, as a hiring manager, how do I differentiate between these hundreds of resumes? What would help you stand out? And as I pointed out early on, you've got to find out ways of reflecting your passion onto your resumes. And some of the mechanisms I've already identified, such as if you've got any additional certificates, put them on top. If you've got any additional internship experience, lay that out nicely at the top. If try to, if you're looking for a specific job, let's say that, for example, in IT, if you're looking at a consulting job, for example, to start off with, it's mostly around how do you manage pressure situations. So maybe highlight, hey, I've managed XYZ pressure situations because perhaps you were the team lead for your final year project, and then or perhaps you had another job at, for example, McDonald's, for example, where you were leading the team, and there were certain rush hours, for example, and if you figure out that a company is more interested in innovation, for example, you can highlight, hey, I figured out a problem by myself, and then I came up with a solution for that problem by myself, right? So how to just try to preempt ways of standing out from the crowd. Not a lot of people actually do that, right? They'll just go in and figure out that, hey, someone's going to figure out that this person's probably better than others. How can you actually help out the hiring manager in figuring out you're better than others? So yeah, again, think of various mechanisms on how you can make that happen. One thing again, I think people don't realize the value of LinkedIn. Have a look at different LinkedIn profiles. There are some LinkedIn profiles, even for experienced professionals, that will stand out. What makes them stand out? Think of that. Yet another thing is, very deep into my career, one of my managers gave me advice around improving my writing. Now, if people know some things about Amazon, is that we've got a very writing heavy culture. We do everything in writing. We don't have PowerPoint slides. We write, what we call one pagers or 3 pagers or 6 pagers, and our writings are very, very, very concise. Everyone should focus on making sure that their writing is up to the mark. And what do I mean by that? Imagine this: if you've got an idea that you can express in a paragraph, versus the same idea you can express in a line, you should actually go with the latter, right? Because again, the hiring manager would probably not want to read that paragraph. The hiring manager can quickly read that line and get an idea of that, of what the candidate is like. So invest time in making sure. And how do you actually do that? It's a very simple skill to develop. Just revisit your writing a day after you've written something, right? And the next day you'll start to figure out and keep on cutting down words and figuring out, hey, is it still giving me the same idea? Keep on cutting down those words until you get the very minimum number of words that can express the same idea that you had initially. It takes a bit of effort at the start, a bit of discipline, but you get there, and it's very valuable. So yeah, coming back to that original point, just preempt, folks. Preempt and see how you can get your best skills right at the top. And if you figure you haven't got those skills, work on those skills. Obviously, it's fairly easy. If you're looking at, for example, open source projects, if someone's wanting to show how good they are in terms of engineering skills, look at ask ChatGPT what the most what the best open source projects are in C# or Java or whatever. Pick some of those up, try to get them running on your local machine, make changes, fix some bugs, get things happening. I think that there's nothing, especially for software engineers, there's nothing better than that on your resume.
And lucky last, because it came in and got upvoted. If you could go back in time, what's one piece of advice you'd give yourself?
Communication skills. Yeah, that's probably, as I pointed out earlier, it's probably one of the things that I've been very reluctant to develop myself. And as I moved into a manager role, it just became uh, extremely important. I still love, even after 18 years of working in the industry, I still love to put on my headphones, just focus on what I have to do on my machine. And I almost, I hate meetings so much, but I have to spend 90% of my time just in meetings, talking to people every single day. Um, it's an absolute, you'll run into, I've realized that you'll run into, there would be a time where your career would just stall just because you can't get your ideas across. And other people, there's actually a very interesting anecdote here as well. I had a colleague um, who actually was 10 years younger than me. And her background was, she was a cashier at LD, right? Her communication skills were absolutely fantastic, and she actually managed to leapfrog me in one of the roles that we were both vying for. And mostly because she had really fantastic communication skills. So I've witnessed this firsthand. We, all of us, need to have really, really good communication skills. We need to be uh, we need to be really clear on what the inputs are that are required for our roles. We need to be very clear on the outputs are that we are targeting. The more clearer things are, the easier it becomes for you in your career.
Cool.